gotta talk about other dumb decisions. And hey, speaking of dumb things, let's talk about WB Discovery. So in the latest round of talking to Wall Street and investors and talking about how when WB was acquired by Discovery, they inherited $50 billion worth of debt. In
Nice.
the 2 years since then, because this month marked 2 years, they've only been able to pay off 15 billion by canceling things and writing things off and making small profits. They got 35 billion to go, and they believe it's going to slow down. So David Zaslav very simply said, "We are looking for M&A, merger and acquisition opportunities." And he said in the next year to 3 max, we are either merging with somebody else for our survival, or I am putting us up for acquisition, and both start now. So they're up for sale again. He just put the word out that, hey, either merge with us, we're looking for partners, we need to offset this, or come buy us out. One or the other is happening. And talk about another setback.
Say it's right on time, right?
This is that Dr. Manhattan meme.
Just it's 2017. WB's up for sale.
It's the same thing. It's 2019. WB has shifted priorities, and a new buyer has entered. Oh no, 2021 again. It's like it keeps happening. And recently, like Zaslav, they lost the NBA license. Like
that one was hilarious when people found out how it happened. It was basically, he said, "We don't need basketball." That's literally what he said. Everyone's like, "What do you mean you don't need basketball?" And then you see that like NBC and all these other and he was like, and Amazon were like going into like a bidding war up to like 2.5 billion because they see the profit there.
How long has WB had the NBA? It's like as long as I can remember, honestly.
For TNT specifically, it was since I think like the late 1980s, early 90s.
Yeah, like
that's crazy.
Because like I remember watching wrestling in the 90s on TNT, and they would do crossover with basketball stars because again, like WB has really lost its way. And like when you get rid of a major sport that still pulls in views and money because you can't afford to pay the rights and you need to get rid of it, like it's telling about the future of your company. Like it's
because I think I think this oncoming season is the last season for that for that show on TNT because I think WB needed needed either to equate to 2.7 billion to keep the rights for certain games and stuff. But I guess Zaslav and them said that they didn't need it, and this is what's going to happen.
You mentioned games, and I'm glad you mentioned that because another part of this is WB Games. And reportedly, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League cost upwards of north of 250 million to make.
Yep, and that's and it's not on the development side's fault. It's the it's all the all the shareholders saying that they needed a games as a service game when this particular Suicide Squad game was not originally supposed to be.
And again, this was the 4th iteration of that video game. That's like the other iterations, and they had almost completed. They were doing voice work for the Damian Wayne Batman game, and then just straight up canceled it, like deep in post production. Like, what do you? Ooh.
Aren't voices done first?
Yeah, for the most part, if they have everything squared away, then voice work would be one of the first ones done.
The thing with that game was they were reusing a lot of assets and had a lot already built out from another canceled project, which was the Batman.
I mean, that makes sense. People who fault developers for reusing assets are just dumb.
Yeah, you're dumb.
It's like if I can, it's like if I can have the total work I need to do, I'm gonna do it.
It's like opening like Blender or something, being like, no, I can't use this circle. I got to use a square. I have to make this square myself. I can't just reuse it. What are you doing?
But it's
WB
wild. Yeah, it's wild with they're saying that's happening. Everything's all good, and you check it out. It's like, no, they're canceling a lot of stuff that you didn't need to do. There's
like, imagine canceling like video games when they're the biggest industry on the planet.
Well, they cancel it because it's not going to make projections of what they want it to do.
Maybe like make a game that makes projection.
Right.
Listen to people on the internet. Don't actually make a live service game because that bubble popped a year ago.
Well, it's when they say, "Oh, these are the projections, pretty good," and goes, "But what about this game?" That's a game as a service game. They're ranking that in because they've been established. But why can't you turn this game or make this game into that? And that's where the conflict comes. Is like they want that, but they don't know how all the development time goes into making that. They just want
you see your entire studio. They have to work on this game. You can't split the teams. The entire thing.
Think about this, right? WB is doing all this. They're shutting down divisions. They're setting unrealistic expectations, right? And they've already committed to an entire shared universe that's shooting 2 projects. Another 2 are starting by the end of the year. James Gunn is tied up with it in the middle of a sale that's just announced that they want to happen. I mean, the walls are closing in. Everything's crumbling down around the DCU before it's even started. Like,
DC can literally not catch a break.
Not at all. It's so sad. It is caught in the middle.
Before it was self-inflicted, right? Because you had them just keep banking on Snyder. It's like, look, you're just making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're actively trying, and nothing's going right. Well, I say nothing's going right. Like, no matter what they do, people are picking it apart. It's like, Christ, like, come on. It's like, let them breathe. But no, it's
kind of like crazy how we got here. Not surprising because it's WB, but again, I'm assuming since he just put the word out again on Wall Street, talking to a bunch of investors that this is happening. Things are already in motion. I would not be surprised if there was already some preliminary talks because we know WB was in talks with Paramount, but Sony and the Apollo Group made that agreement and moved right in with a offer that WB can't afford it because they have no money. What are they going to do? Say, hey, we'll offer you $40 billion and it'll just stack debt and then we'll both be dead in 2 years? Like, that's
so, hey, we have DC. What's that show that Ricardo watches on HBO?
I don't know. Weebs in the City or something?
There was that reality. It had like a universe on it. I can't think what it's called.
MILF Manor?
I can't remember.
I bet you Ricardo watches MILF Manor. I'm gonna pin that on him.
Is MILF Manor actually a thing?
It is.
I don't even know why I asked that. Of course, it's a damn thing.
Of course, it's a thing, right? Yeah.
Capitalism it's got to be a thing, right?
Yep.
I want to say it was like 40 Day Fiance universe or something like that.
Oh my god, yes, they are now. Yeah, that's gonna save everything.
I mean, that was one of their big title card shows. So.
Well, did you see Zaslav also said he's like, hey, we're also gonna make sure that Max/HBO finally gets to other territories. So I looked it up. I'm like, how is this available in only like 4 countries?
Yeah.
How?
Like, they only did a deal with Sky like last year to have a bunch of shows on Sky Atlantic and stuff like that. Like they have been doing. Like, why? No one's gonna get it now.
This company's in shambles. Actual shambles.
Yeah, actual shambles.
Yeah.
Well, Feige is in this company right now. That's how much shambles they are.
I believe it. I believe it.
When someone says they're in the shambles, they're talking about WB.